The moment Kyle's body hit the pool, everything slowed down. He kicked off the edge, dove headfirst into the water like he owned it, cutting through the surface in one arrogant, perfect line. For a second, I almost admired it, until the screaming began. Ah! Jesus Christ! What the hell? His voice ripped through the backyard like a siren. He shot up from the water, eyes bulging, clawing at his skin as if it were on fire. His arms thrashed wildly, water spraying everywhere. Jessica dropped her drink. Kyle! Oh my God, baby, what's happening? She stumbled toward the pool, nearly tripping on her heels, panic in her voice. I stood there, framed in the sliding glass doorway, watching. Calm. Steady. My heart, for the first time in weeks, didn't feel like it was going to explode from my chest. No, it felt ice cold. Controlled. Because this wasn't an accident. This was me. My hand. My revenge, dipped straight into the chlorinated blue where he thought he was safe. Her shameless lover liked to swim in my pool while I was at work. I knew his routine, knew the exact hours Jessica would invite him over. And today, I gave him a welcome gift. Something in the water he'd never forget. Jessica screamed again, kneeling at the edge, trying to grab him as he flailed. Her face twisted, half fear, half confusion. She had no idea I was home early. No idea I'd been watching. No idea I had turned her little paradise into a battlefield. Ryan, she whispered when she finally saw me standing there. My name left her lips like a guilty prayer. Yeah. She saw me. And the look on her face, half shock, half caught red-handed, was the fuel I'd been starving for. Now let's rewind. Because you're probably wondering how I got here, how a 36-year-old man who once believed in forever marriage ended up sabotaging his own swimming pool just to make a point. Believe me, I never pictured myself here either. But betrayal changes a man. It reshapes him. And Jessica, she didn't just cheat. She spit on everything we built, laughed behind my back, and thought I'd never notice. I noticed. The first crack started showing a few months back. Her phone, always face down. Long showers at night. That "too tired" line every time I tried to touch her. At first, I told myself it was stress. Work. Maybe even me, maybe I wasn't giving her enough. But deep down, my gut was screaming the truth, something was wrong. Then came the lies. Oh, I'm just meeting Chloe for drinks. I'll be late, book club ran over. I was at the gym, didn't you see my sneakers? Lies stacked on lies, flimsy excuses delivered with that smug little smirk she thought I didn't notice. But the pool, that was my smoking gun. The first time I came home early, saw her sitting poolside with Kyle, laughing like a teenage girl with her first crush, that was it. My world cracked wide open. She kissed him on my lawn chair, wrapped herself in his arms like I didn't exist. And she thought she was smart. She thought I'd never catch her. That night, she served me spaghetti, smiled sweetly, asked about my long day. I sat across from her, fork in hand, nodding, pretending, tasting betrayal in every bite. My wife, Jessica, the woman who swore vows to me, the woman I built a life with, was a liar. Worse than a liar. A scoundrel. A bitch who thought she could eat from both plates and never get burned. So I started planning. Quietly. No screaming. No big confrontation. Not yet. I wanted her comfortable. I wanted him cocky. I wanted the both of them blindsided. Which is why the pool was perfect. Kyle loved to swim. Loved to dive in like he was showing off his body, his muscles, his tattoos. I let him. For a while. And then one morning, while Jessica was in the shower, I slipped outside with a jug under my arm. I poured it into the water, invisible under the surface but potent as hell. Not lethal, no, I'm not looking for prison time, but a sting, a burn, a memory carved straight into his skin. And when he dove in, it worked. God, it worked. His screams weren't just pain, they were music. A symphony to my rage. Jessica panicked, shrieking his name, while I stood steady in the doorway, letting her see me. Letting the truth slap her across the face harder than I ever could. This was no longer a guessing game. No more wondering, no more second-guessing myself. She knew I knew. Kyle knew too. And as he clawed his way out of the water, skin red and raw, I realized something else. This was just the opening act. Because if Jessica thought this pool was the end of my revenge, she was dead wrong. The way Jessica looked at me in that moment, dripping guilt all over her perfect little sundress, told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't sorry. She was busted, cornered, caught like a rat, and she hated me for it. That glare in her eyes wasn't shame, it was fury that I dared to interrupt her fantasy life. And Kyle? He was too busy groaning on the tiles, skin blotched red where the chemicals bit into him, to even notice me. I didn't say a word. Not yet. I let the silence do the work. I could see her brain running laps, trying to piece together an excuse that could save her. Jessica always thought she was the smartest one in the room, always thought she could lie her way out of anything. She underestimated me. Ryan, she finally said, voice trembling but her jaw clenched tight, this isn't what it looks like. I almost laughed. That line. That pathetic, worn-out line. My wife had another man choking on my pool water in his underwear, and she still thought she could spin it. I raised an eyebrow, just once, slow, and she cracked. Okay, fine, she snapped, her tone flipping like a switch, he's just a friend, all right? You're overreacting. He came by, we had a drink, he wanted to swim. You've been so distant lately, what was I supposed to do, just sit here alone all day? Her words hit me like nails on glass. Distant? I was working double shifts to pay for her goddamn lifestyle. To keep her nails done, her closet full, her fridge stocked with organic whatever. And she called that distance. Kyle coughed, spitting, muttering curses under his breath. He dragged himself toward the grass, and Jessica bent to help him. That's when something inside me snapped. Don't touch him, I said. My voice was calm, steady, but heavy enough to make her freeze. She glanced back, eyes wide, like she didn't recognize the man standing in front of her. Truth is, maybe she didn't. Because the Ryan she married would have begged, would have pleaded, would have cried at the sight of her with another man. But that Ryan died the second I saw her kiss him in my backyard. What stood in front of her now was something colder. She straightened, squaring her shoulders like a challenge. What are you gonna do, Ryan? Huh? Beat him up? Hit me? You don't have the balls. You never did. There it was. The venom. The real Jessica. The mask was off, and all that was left was the venomous, selfish creature she'd been hiding. My heart pounded so loud I could feel it in my teeth. Rage burned through me, but not the kind that makes you scream. No, this was surgical. Precise. I walked closer, slow enough that she flinched, but I didn't raise my hand. I didn't have to. You invited him here. To my house. To my pool. While I was killing myself at work to keep you comfortable. And you think I don't have the balls? She tried to laugh, but it cracked halfway. You're pathetic, Ryan. You always have been. Kyle makes me feel alive. You don't. That's the truth. There it was. Blunt. Brutal. But also freeing. Because once the words left her lips, there was no going back. No more spaghetti dinners with fake smiles. No more pretending she was just tired. No more lies I could swallow to make myself believe I still had a wife. I looked at Kyle, still rubbing his arms, shivering, glaring at me like he wanted to charge but couldn't. He wasn't worth my fists. Not yet. He was just a symptom. The disease was standing in front of me in a sundress, hair tied back, lips twisted in a sneer. "Pack a bag," I said. "You're leaving tonight." Her mouth fell open. She hadn't expected that. She thought I'd break down, that I'd rage and scream. She thought she'd get drama she could twist into her favor. Instead, I gave her clarity. "You can't just kick me out, Ryan," she hissed. "This is my house too." "No," I said. My voice dropping lower, sharper, "This was our house. Until you turned it into a motel." She froze. For the first time all day, she didn't have a comeback. And in that silence, I felt it, the first flicker of something I hadn't felt in weeks. Power. This wasn't the end. Not by a long shot. But it was the first strike. And she was just beginning to realize she had no idea how far I was willing to go. The night she left the house, I didn't sleep. Not because I was broken, but because my mind was racing with clarity. When you see betrayal with your own eyes, it changes something in you. I sat on the couch with a glass of whiskey, staring at the silent walls, replaying every little moment that hadn't made sense before. Her sudden trips to visit her mom. The late-night texts she hid with the phone tilted away from me. The lingerie I never once saw her wear for me but had receipts for in the credit card bills. All the puzzle pieces fit now, and they made one ugly picture. Around midnight, I checked the security cameras. I had set them up months ago, but rarely looked at the footage. That night I scrolled through weeks of saved video. And there it was. Clear as daylight. Jessica sneaking him in, Kyle strutting through my front door like he paid the mortgage. Them on the couch. Them disappearing into the bedroom, blinds drawn tight, her head thrown back in laughter as she pulled him by the hand. It felt like someone shoved a fist straight through my chest. My knuckles went white gripping the armrest, and I caught myself muttering curses under my breath. I wanted to smash the TV, punch through the glass table, anything to release what was boiling in me. But I didn't. I rewound, rewatched. Not because I liked the pain, but because I needed every detail, every timestamp, every ounce of proof. The next morning, she had the audacity to walk back in as if nothing happened. Hair perfect, wearing sunglasses, carrying a bag of groceries. "Ryan," she said flatly, "we need to talk." I stayed seated, sipping coffee, staring at her like she was a stranger. She put the bag down and crossed her arms. "What you did yesterday was insane. You can't just sabotage a pool and act like some vigilante. Kyle could sue you. Do you want to lose everything? Because that's what's coming if you don't calm down." Her tone, condescending, sharp, cold, was gasoline on my fire. I pulled out the remote, clicked the TV, and the security feed popped up. She froze. There she was on screen, laughing, kissing him, dragging him through my home like it was their playground. Jessica's face went pale. For the first time, she didn't have a line ready. "You're disgusting," I said quietly. "Every excuse, every lie, every late night, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And all this time, you were spitting on me in my own house." She swallowed, then tried. "Ryan, listen, it wasn't like that. Kyle, he's just someone who..." I slammed my fist on the table so hard the mug shattered. Don't you dare say, it wasn't like that. I watched it. I heard it. You lied to my face every single night while sneaking him in here like I was some idiot too blind to notice. You made a fool out of me." Her mask slipped, and the venom poured out. "You know what, Ryan? Maybe I did. Because you're boring. You work, you sleep, you sit here like life is over. Kyle makes me feel alive. He gives me what you can't. And if you were man enough, maybe I wouldn't have looked elsewhere. That cut deeper than any footage could. She wanted me to break. She wanted me to shatter so she could stand taller. But all she did was ignite something darker inside me. I stood slowly, meeting her glare with something she hadn't seen before. You think you've won because you had a fling with some tattooed pool boy? You have no idea who you're playing with. I gave you everything, Jessica. And now, I'll take it all back. Piece by piece. Her jaw tightened. You're bluffing. I smiled, a cold, humorless thing. Try me. She stormed out, slamming the door, but I knew this wasn't the end. It was the start of a war. And if she thought I'd fight fair, she didn't know me at all. Because I wasn't aiming to just expose her. I was going to strip away every comfort, every lie, every illusion she had built around herself. Until all that was left was the truth, raw and ugly. And when that day came, she'd wish all I had done was pour something into a pool. A week later, she tried to flip the story. Jessica never could stand being the villain, she always needed to look like the victim. I found out when my phone started buzzing non-stop, texts from friends, even my sister. Ryan, what's going on? Jess says you lost it. She had gone around telling people I was unstable, that I imagined things, that the pool stunt was some breakdown from stress at work. She painted herself as the loving wife dealing with a husband unraveling at the seams. The audacity made my blood boil. She wasn't content just to betray me, she wanted to bury me. But I was ready. I gathered the footage, the receipts, the texts she thought she'd deleted. I put it all on a hard drive. Not to beg for sympathy, not to get pity, but to make sure no one could ever say I was imagining this. She called me that Friday, her voice syrupy sweet. Ryan, can we meet at my parents' place? I think it's time to clear the air. Clear the air. That was her phrase for rewriting history. But I agreed. Not because I wanted to reconcile, because I wanted her mask to crack in front of witnesses. When I walked into her parents' living room, she was already there. Hair done, dress immaculate, sitting cross-legged on the couch like a queen. Her mom and dad looked nervous, perched in chairs. She started speaking before I even sat down. Ryan, she sighed, we've been so worried about you. This behavior, the accusations, the paranoia, it's not you. Everyone thinks you need help. I mean, look at what you did to Kyle. Pouring chemicals into a pool? Who does that? Her parents nodded awkwardly, clearly fed only her version of events. My hands itched. I could feel my pulse in my jaw. But instead of yelling, I pulled the remote I'd tucked into my jacket pocket and pointed it at the TV in the corner. The screen flickered, then lit up. There she was. Jessica in my living room, straddling Kyle on the couch, moaning his name while her wedding ring gleamed on her finger. Her parents gasped. She froze, eyes wide, face draining of color. Silence filled the room like smoke. Her mom's hand flew to her mouth. Her dad muttered, Jesus Christ. I turned to Jessica. Unstable? Paranoid? That's your story? Tell them, Jess. Tell them I imagined this. She scrambled, words tripping over each other. That video is out of context. It's not what it looks like. Her dad slammed his hand on the table. Not what it looks like. He's right there, and you're, God, Jessica, what the hell is wrong with you? She shot me a look of pure hatred, lips curled back like a cornered animal. For once, her lies weren't working. The perfect daughter, the perfect wife mask had shattered in front of the two people she cared most about impressing. I stood, pocketing the remote. You wanted to clear the air, Jess. Consider it cleared. As I left, I could hear her mother crying, her father shouting. And Jessica, screaming my name like I was the villain. But the difference now? Nobody was buying it. Walking to my car, I realized something. Exposing her wasn't enough. That was just round one. She had dragged me through the mud, lied to everyone I knew, and thought she could rewrite the truth. Now, I was going to take back everything she thought she owned. The house. The money. The life she built on my back. She thought betrayal was a game. I was about to show her how it ends. The first thing I did was cut the money. Jessica had gotten used to swiping my cards like they were endless fountains, booking girls' trips that were really weekends with Kyle, filling closets with clothes I never once saw her wear for me. That ended overnight. I went online, froze every joint account, cancelled every card with her name on it, and changed all the logins. By sunrise, her kingdom of comfort was gone. It didn't take long for her to notice. At noon the next day, my phone lit up with call after call. I ignored the first 5, but on the 6th, I picked up. "What the hell did you do, Ryan?" she hissed. "My card got declined at the salon. Do you know how humiliating that was?" I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. "Welcome to reality, Jess. It's called paying your own way." "You can't do that," she snapped. "Half that money is mine." "No," I said calmly. "It was ours. Until you decided to make it yours and Kyle's." I just corrected the math. Her scream on the other end was pure fury. She hung up, and I sat back in my chair, satisfied. One step down. That evening, I pulled into the driveway and noticed her car was already there. My gut tightened. Sure enough, when I walked inside, she was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, waiting for me like some prosecutor ready to strike. "You're not going to ruin me," she said flatly. "You think cutting a few cards is going to stop me? Kyle says I should take you for everything in court. Alimony, the house, the car, you'll be lucky to keep your watch collection." I set my keys down slowly, met her stare. Funny. Kyle giving legal advice. Didn't know pool boys had law degrees. Her face twisted. "He's more of a man than you ever were." That one hit like a blade. She wanted to cut deep, wanted me to break in front of her. Instead, I chuckled, low, cold. "Good. Then let him pay for your nails. Let him buy your wine. Let him cover your car insurance. Because I'm done." She stood, furious, pointing a finger at me like a weapon. "You'll regret this, Ryan. I'll ruin you." I stepped closer, lowered my voice. "No, Jess. You already ruined us. Now I'm just returning the favor." She stormed past me, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. I listened to the engine of her car roar as she tore out of the driveway, and I felt something unexpected. Not sadness. Not even rage. Freedom. But freedom has a price. The next day, my lawyer called. "Ryan, your wife's filed for temporary support. She's coming for blood." I laughed bitterly into the phone. "Let her. I've got proof of everything." And I did. The videos. The receipts. Even texts I'd pulled from her iCloud when she wasn't looking. I had her cornered legally the same way I'd cornered her morally. That night, though, something happened I didn't expect. I came home to find the pool cover half pulled back, a wet towel on the patio, and cigarette butts scattered across the tiles. Kyle had been there. While I was gone, he'd come back like a dog marking territory. I felt my blood pressure spike, my fists clench. He was mocking me. Testing how far I'd go. I stood at the pool's edge, staring at the rippling water, and one thought slid through my mind like a blade: if he wants to keep swimming in my pool, maybe I should give him something stronger than a sting next time. The war wasn't over. It was just getting dirtier. 2 nights later, I heard tires crunching on the gravel outside. It was close to midnight. I peered through the blinds, and sure enough, Kyle's car was parked crooked in my driveway, headlights still on. My jaw tightened. He wasn't here to sneak around this time, he wanted me to know he was here. A hard knock rattled the front door. Then another, louder. I opened it to see him standing there, arms crossed, smirk plastered across his face. Jessica was behind him, arms looped around his like she was showing off a trophy. "Evening, champ," Kyle said, voice dripping with arrogance. "We're here to get her things. Don't make it hard." Jessica tilted her head, eyes full of defiance. "Yeah, Ryan. Don't drag this out. I'm moving in with him." Hearing it out loud still burned, even though I'd known it was coming. My wife, no, ex-wife in all but paperwork, standing there with the guy who'd been crawling through my life like a parasite. My fists itched, but I forced myself still. I leaned against the doorframe. "Her things are in trash bags on the porch. Take them and get the hell off my property." Kyle laughed, stepping closer, trying to intimidate me with his bulk. "What's the matter? Afraid of a real man taking your spot?" I didn't flinch. I just stared at him until the grin started to slip. "You've been swimming in my pool, drinking my liquor, sleeping in my house. That ends tonight. Next time you set foot on this property, I won't call a lawyer. I'll call a coroner." Jessica gasped. "You're insane," she spat. "This is exactly why I left you. You're toxic, controlling, pathetic. Kyle treats me like a queen. He doesn't make me feel small." I smiled bitterly. "Yeah, he makes you feel something, all right. Cheap. Replaceable. You'll find that out soon enough." Her eyes narrowed, but I saw it, the flicker of doubt. She hated that I'd said it because some part of her already knew it was true. Kyle shoved the trash bags into his trunk, glaring at me the whole time like he was trying to decide whether to swing. But he didn't. Cowards rarely do when the target stares them down. When they pulled away, my chest was still heaving. The house was quieter than ever. Empty, but not in the way I expected. Not sad empty. Clean empty. Like the filth had finally been dragged out. The next morning, though, Jessica's venom returned. My boss called me into his office. "Ryan, I got a call from your wife. She says you've been unstable, threatening violence. She hinted at restraining orders. What the hell's going on?" So that was her play now, ruin me at work, poison my reputation, strip me piece by piece. She wanted me cornered, desperate, broken. I walked out of that meeting shaking, but not with fear, with focus. She wanted war? Fine. I had evidence. I had dates, times, video, proof that she was the one who'd been sneaking around, not me. If she thought she could paint me as the villain, I'd flip the canvas right in her face. That night, I started making copies. One set for my lawyer. One for her parents. One for anyone she thought she could lie to. She wanted to turn the world against me, but I'd make sure the truth hit harder than her lies ever could. And just when I thought things couldn't get uglier, they did. Around midnight, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. A photo of Kyle, shirtless, holding a beer in my backyard. The caption read, "Still your pool, champ?" My hands clenched so hard the phone almost cracked. He was taunting me. Breaking into my property, mocking me, rubbing it in my face. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at that picture, my anger carving itself into steel. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was provocation. A declaration. And I was done waiting. The night I decided to end it, I felt calmer than I had in months. No more shaking hands, no more pacing hallways, no more second-guessing. Betrayal has a way of burning through you until nothing is left but steel. Jessica thought she'd stripped me down, humiliated me, made me her fool. But fools don't plan. And I had been planning every move since the day I saw Kyle in my pool. The first step was financial. I filed motions through my lawyer, locking Jessica out of every asset she thought she'd cling to. The house? In my name before we even married. The accounts? Closed and secured. The car she drove? Leased under me, collected within 48 hours by the dealer. I watched her Instagram in silence as she posted filtered selfies, pretending everything was fine, while her world quietly collapsed behind the screen. The second step was reputation. I leaked just enough. Not everything, not the dirtiest clips, I didn't need to. A few carefully chosen screenshots of texts, a snippet of camera footage, passed along to the right friends, the right family. The whispers spread fast. Soon Jessica wasn't the polished wife covering for her unstable husband. She was the woman who betrayed, lied, and played victim until the truth broke through. The invitations to brunches, to girls' nights, dried up fast. And then there was Kyle. He kept pushing, sending me pictures in my backyard, mocking me like a kid daring me to fight. But when the eviction notice hit him, because his landlord was a friend of mine who owed me a favor, suddenly the laughter died down. One night he showed up at my gate, furious, shouting my name into the dark. I didn't even go outside. I just let the cameras record him, drunk, screaming threats. Another neat package for my lawyer. Another nail in their coffin. Jessica finally cracked. She called me one evening. Voice shaking. "Ryan, can we talk? Just talk." I let the silence stretch, then said, "No. We're done talking. You made your choices. Now you get to live with them." "Please," she whispered, the venom gone now, replaced by something raw. "I don't know what to do. He's not who I thought he was. I made a mistake." For a second, I felt that old tug, that part of me that once loved her, once wanted to fix everything. But then I remembered. Her laughing in my backyard. Her sneering in front of her parents. Her telling me Kyle was more of a man. The tug died instantly. "No, Jess," I said. "You didn't make a mistake. You showed me who you are. And I finally believe you." I hung up. The divorce finalized in record time. My lawyer called it one of the cleanest wins he'd seen, because Jessica, backed into a corner with proof stacked against her, couldn't fight. She left with nothing but the clothes she managed to stuff into a couple of bags. Weeks later, I stood by the pool, the same place where all of this started. The water shimmered under the evening light, calm, still, as if mocking the chaos it had once witnessed. For the first time, I didn't see Kyle diving in, or Jessica lounging with her fake smile. I saw freedom. I took a sip of whiskey, leaned against the railing, and let myself breathe. The house was mine again. My life was mine again. And here's the thing betrayal teaches you: it hurts, it burns, it strips you bare. But once the fire is out, you're left sharper, harder, unshakable. Jessica was gone. Kyle was nothing. And me? I was still standing. Stronger than ever. So if you're reading this, wondering what you'd do if the person you loved most stabbed you in the back, remember this: don't beg, don't crumble, don't fight their game. Smile, stay silent, collect the proof, and hit them where it hurts most, without ever lifting a hand. Because revenge isn't about shouting or breaking things. It's about making sure when they dive into the pool, they never forget the sting.